So I wanted to start right here. This is in Lightroom on the iPad, unedited. This is how it's coming out of camera, and this is the edited version. So let's get to the video. So yeah, the ice lights, they work. The ice lights 3 are fantastic, but what if it's dark? You know, just let me tell you something. I love these things in the dark more than I love them for mixed lighting. Mixed lighting, they work great. Food, product, whatever you want to do. But what will happen if I black out the studio? So let me show you what we're dealing with. So I put up blackout curtains on my giant windows. And here it is. This is what we're dealing with. This is what we'll be shooting in. Anyway, we're going to be using 3 ice lights, 2 of the bicolor, 1 color. I'm trying to get a fourth color one, RGB color one. They're just, as soon as they get in, they sell out. There's a reason for that. And hopefully today you'll understand the reason for that. These sell out quickly as they can get them in, because the photographers who use them, who are still using the version 2s of these and are upgrading, they want them. YouTube, you're going to get all kinds of opinions. Not much anymore, because they're, all the knockoffs, everybody's grabbing the knockoffs because they're cheap. These are the best for a reason, and they sell out for a reason. They're good. They work. They're consistent. I love them. I'm shooting somebody that I haven't shot for a long, long time. She moved away from the area. I was a little angry at that time. I'm better now, but she comes back to visit. So she's coming back for a visit. She's bringing a friend. I can't wait to shoot. Let's get into the shoot and see how these do in the dark. So first thing, I'm going to be shooting the very first image at ISO 800 because I just want to show you that. I'm using higher ISOs because I want a faster shutter speed. I'm using the Hasselblad X1D with the 75p, so it's a bigger sensor, a little bit longer lens. It's bound to get some camera shake if I don't use it this way. So that's my setup. Now the lights, I'm going to show you as I'm going through how I set them up. I would say the barn doors are pretty much essential. You can see I'm just moving that barn door to get that light off the backdrop as much as possible. If I move her up a little bit, it'll stay in her face, and then I can just adjust that barn door so the light from that main light doesn't fall in the backdrop as much. This is very simple, and because you can see everything and where the light is going, it makes it that much easier. And I'm going to use that RGB light both on her and on the backdrop through this shoot. Now, she's asking where the main light is because she's done this before. We've worked together for so long. She knows she has to cheat to that main light, and it's her friend, so she knows how to do that. So this is the very first image. Like I said, this is at ISO 800. Image quality is fantastic. There's no issues with it. Now I'm going to take it up to ISO 1600 so I can be shooting at like 2/50th of a second. At f3.4. I'm not going to get camera shake with that. I'm an old man, so, camera shake's a little bit more prevalent with me. Plus, she's a mover. Even though it's not a fast movement, she flows through poses as you go. And even with this little click on this camera, she knows when to move into the next pose. So she's very good with that. She loves hard lighting as much as I do. So this is a great setup for both of us. Now, again, it can be as soft as you want or as hard as you want within reason, because it is a smaller light source, on the thin side, but it's a larger light source on the length side. But as you can see, just playing with these lights and maneuvering them in certain ways, you're going to get the look that you want extremely easily. And the adjustments from the phone are pretty easy. The only adjustment I have an issue with is color, which we'll get into later. It's not a bad thing. It's just sometimes it gets a little difficult in one tone area. And it kind of drives me nuts. So I want to reach out to Westcott with that as well. But other than that, there's no issues with these whatsoever. Now, this shoot was probably about an hour and a half long, and these lights, the battery lasted the whole time. Again, I shut them off for like 3 minutes in between changes because she really changes that quickly, and she's wearing all dresses. So the lights were on most of the time, and they were all, except that back right one, which is the rim light, they were all on 100%, and that one was probably 75%. The fun things you can do with these is just amazing. You just had to play and use your angles and get really cool images out of these.
And this is out of the box. Honestly, it's not like you have this big learning curve that you would have with flashes and giant modifiers. This is, I have a small studio now, and I'm appreciating these more and more because I'm in such a tight space. My shooting area is probably, uh, I would say, 15 feet to 18 feet on the length, and maybe 120 inches on the width. That's give or take. So I'm really appreciating these. And, for me to shoot in a higher ISO, this is ISO 1600 and it's clean. I can do the same thing with the Sony. It doesn't have to be a Hasselblad to get that clean of an image at ISO 1600. But, it is, this is just fun for me. Being able to see the light and adjust it like this. Yeah, somebody made a comment in one of these videos saying continuous light is garbage. Use flash. Flash is a better light for low ISOs and freezing motion and all that kind of stuff. It is superior in that way. But what you can do with LEDs today, even with these, they're not as powerful as, a 500 watt LED. It's still amazing what you can do with them and what you can create with them. And it's fun. This is not, a lot of people get frustrated when they're using flash. It's tough, modifying the light, seeing where the light's going to go, getting these type of effects or lighting patterns, that takes a lot of work with flash. And, if you haven't used flash or if you just started out in flash, but want to create these kind of images, you can do this out of the box. I promise you. Like literally, because everything you see through your camera is exactly what you're going to get. And like in the beginning of this video, I showed you one right out of camera in Lightroom that wasn't touched yet, other than the color, but that was because I did a gray card in camera. It held that color for me. This is, these are as close to out of camera as you can get. I did minor retouching on her face, and I added some vignette, and I took the black point down on some of these. That's really it. It is a good system. And for the people the naysayers on these lights, I just challenge you to use them just once. Once you use them and you play with them for a little bit, you're going to be very happy with what they can do and the light they produce. Because I'm thrilled with them. Now, I did notice an amazing color balance with these. Obviously, I shot the gray card, but the color accuracy on these is so much better than it was. I thought the version 2 was really good, but these in hand, compared to other LEDs that I've used, I just love the skin tones. I love what it does with the images. It's gorgeous to me. There's so little work you have to do in post-production with skin tones with these lights. I'm very impressed with that. So honestly, thank you so much to Westcott for doing that. But I'm just loving the images. Now, each time I'm going to be adjusting these lights. Now, this dress here, I want that back rim light to edge her out. That's why I lowered it and I closed up the barn doors quite a bit because I just want to hit the edge of her and I don't want to lose the shape of that dress. And I want to cast some shadows so it just gives, more of a defined angles, if you will. I want to show her angles off. She has great angles, and with a rim light like that, you can really show them off, as you can see there. I'm not too worried about the hair light because it's still going to reach up there, but you can see what that does for the shape. It really, pulls everything out and just gives a little extra touch to the image. Now, that kind of stuff, each person's going to differ. For her, I've been shooting her for so long, I know it looks good on her. But it takes you 2 seconds to lower it during a shoot. And I can't stress enough those dual jointed tilters, whatever they call them. Again, I'll leave the link in the description because they are wonderful. It's the first one I've ever used that I absolutely positively love. They have some weight to it and I don't care. That's the swivel arm that you put these on. I mostly mount them in the, on the back, one of the center pins. I don't mount them to the end, except when I want to use one as a boom arm, which we're going to do soon, because I just think that's fabulous too. Because, you don't really need a boom arm with these. I mean, some cases you would if you're shooting a full length, obviously. But most of the time, 3/4, headshot or something like that, you don't need a boom arm with these because the light itself is a boom arm. The battery is, the extension, and the light goes out far enough to, cover in the horizontal state. So that I really love. Anyway, I'm changing colors. I'm putting them on her. I'm just playing with this light. This is where I have the issue with on the left side of the scale in when you're in the color mode. Not the RGB mode, but the other one where you can get all the different colors. I have an issue getting that yellow because it goes from like red to green so quickly, and it's so hard to get it in between those two. I just think it needs to be have a little bit more leeway to adjust colors because it's very, very touchy. Especially with your finger on the phone, it's just so touchy, and you can't get the exact color you want easily. You can if you play with it quite a bit, but that's an issue for me. So hopefully they can do something with that when they update the app to make that, to make getting the colors simpler. That's the only way I can put it. Anyway, each outfit, we just created the light for each outfit, and she can go into any pose with these lighting setups without having to move it, and it's still going to look good. And again, she knows where the lights are. I mean, she knows that backlight, and she knows she can pick up some light on her face from that. She knows her main light. So this makes my life really easy. And with somebody that doesn't know the light, with these lights, at least you can see, and you can say, okay, just turn it a little bit left, turn it a little bit right to get the shot that you want. And definitely in between, show your model, show them that this is a main light. And if you do this, this is what it's going to be. Now here I'm switching that dual jointed ball thingy to the end because I want to use this as a boom. She's doing some stretching, by the way, because this is killing her. She hasn't done this for a while, because she mostly does it with me, but I really make her twist and turn in the studio. So she's kind of hurting a little bit. But I told her it just didn't matter that she's hurting because we wanted good images. Anyway, so I'm using that as a boom arm now, and you'll see like how far it goes over because I put it at the end of the light instead of in the center. And it really, it does work really well. And the light from it is just fantastic. Again, when you use it like this, make sure you line it up with one of the legs of your light stand. It's not going to fall over. You should probably use a sandbag, obviously. But for this, these things are somewhat lightweight compared to what we're used to with the strobes and the, big packs and so forth and the big modifiers. These are kind of light. But anyway, that's the boom arm. And I love the look of it. Again, there's just so many different creative things you can do with them. You will have fun with these. And, out of the box, you're going to get some great images. For a straight portrait, open those barn doors up, let that light flow. Use one as a fill light and the other one is the main light. If you do get three, use one as a back or hair light or a rim light. Just play. That's what I'm doing here. I turn that one on the left down, so the power was down a little bit. I'm using the main light as the main, and that one just to fill in shadows just a little bit. So by turning that power down, it's an easy shot, and I'm loving the look of it. So again, it just takes some playtime, honestly. Like get a watermelon if you don't have anybody to shoot, or get one of those mannequin heads and practice with that with these. And you're going to see how quickly you can pick this up, and you'll be shooting people this fluently and this easily in no time. Anyway, thanks for watching as always. If you have any questions, leave them below. I really appreciate it.